comes from the Hurt to Healing magazine. Covers stories spiritually alive, escaping the death plot, exclusive with Rasul Muhammad. Now, this was originally published in February 11th, 2014. Let's get into it. Now, Sister Ebony Muhammad says this particular interview is along the subject of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad escaping the death plot. Therefore, I would like to delve into your testimony as his son. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wants us to bear witness to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Fard Muhammad, and to defend him as well. You certainly came to mind. I believe you have a very special and unique testimony. I did not realize that today, January 29th, is actually the very day the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was admitted into Mercy Hospital 39 years ago, where he would escape the death plot until this morning. The fact that you are in Mexico right now, where he traveled before departing, is significant to me as well. Now, before I get into on this, it brings me to mind: is Mexico a safe haven? It certainly seems like it. As you saw earlier, the wheels seem to fly low in Mexico. I wasn't trying to do a cheap rhyme. It was just something that came to mind. I just rhymed again. Look at that. But I digress. Let's continue. Brother Rasul says, "It is an honor, it is a blessing, and I feel humbled that my thinking or my thoughts would even be considered to be motivation, encouragement, and inspiration to believers in this mission and the teachings of my father and the representation of the most honorable amongst us, Minister Louis Farrakhan. As a believer and student, we know that there is no such thing as coincidences. So whether you want to look at it from the date, the time, the place, it is all part of a mathematical code that has great wisdom and even a peep into the strategy of Allah in this time. You don't take anything for granted. Nothing. It is significant. I pray that Allah will guide our words with whatever may be useful to your readers." Sister Ebony says, "Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. Thank you very much." Brother Jabril Muhammad mentioned in his book, "Is it possible that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still physically alive?" That in October of 1967, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told Brother Jabril directly, "If Allah had not shown me how I was going to escape, I would have no hope." To me, this is one of the most profound points of proof that he did escape, along with the various testimony of others who were present. In an interview Brother Jabril conducted with Mother Tanetta Muhammad, she disclosed that it was during the family trip to Mexico in December 1974 where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad first told her about the death plot and of his departure. I would like to talk to you about that moment if you remember this. You were 9 years old, is that correct? Brother Rasul says, "That's correct." Were you privy to that conversation regarding his departure? No, I was not privy to that or present for that conversation between my parents. Yet I do recall very well that time when my father first came to Mexico and something he said while he was here that may tie in or give clues to his consciousness of the time where he was and what he was doing leading up to his departure. For example, we had already been here and purchased his home about a year before he came. I recall when he first arrived. We were received by some of the Special Guard, National Guard, under then President of Mexico, Luis Echeverria Alvarez. I may have butchered that, but forgive me. When we arrived here to the home, which is about an hour drive from Mexico City, I remember walking my father up to the steps. There are many, many, many steps in this house. I was on one side of him, and Sultan, my nephew, may Allah be pleased with him, who is the father of Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad, was on the other side of my father. We were walking my father up to the steps to the third floor. Once we got to the third floor, my father went to the balcony and it appeared that he began to weep. He kept repeating over and over again, "Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Allah. Thank you, Master Fard Muhammad. Thank you for blessing me to make it here." And he said, "This is the place I've been looking for a long time. Excuse me, for a long, long time." He just kept repeating that over and over again. That's the point. The second thing I recall is I was in a conversation with him. He was sitting on the balcony on another day here in our home, and he said, "One day, Or soon, people are going to say that I am dead, but I won't be. I responded to him, if anything were to happen to you, I would go into the kitchen and get the biggest knife and kill myself. And he started laughing and he says, oh, you don't have to do that, son, because I will live to see your children's children. That would be another strong point or testimony if you are a believer that says he's not dead. He knew that he was going away for a period of time. For him to directly to me, they are going to think I'm dead. Actually, I recall him saying also, but don't believe it. Don't believe it. Somewhere in there, that's when I said, if anything were to ever happen to you, I would just go into the kitchen and get the biggest knife and I would just kill myself. That's when he laughed and said, no, you don't have to do that, son. I will live to see your children's children. When you look back on a subject like this and you look at your whole experience with the man, I guess you could surmise that he was always telling you in bits and pieces about the future and what we would have to go through to get to that future. I'm recalling a lot of things of what he said to me as a child, even before Mexico. Sometimes he would be sitting in the house in what we used to call the old house next door to the palace. Once the palace was built, he would be sitting in his office or in a room by himself, very quiet, and I would be passing by looking for an opportunity to literally play with them. He would wave his hand like, come on in. Well, that was my joyous moment. This is beautiful. All of the conversation seemed to me like right now to be pieces to a puzzle. I remember brushing his hair. He had this really soft brush because he only had a few strands of hair going across the top. It seems to be a hereditary thing in our family, which is greatly exemplified by my brother Ishmael. He laughs, oh man, Brother Rasul signifying. We have some receding hairlines in our family, laughs. I was brushing his hair and playing with those few strands, and he would always just say, it's okay. Master Fard Muhammad promised me a whole new head of hair. Oh my God, look at that. Things like that always kept me in the mindset that he was going through or would go through some type of transformation that he would talk to me about Master Fard Muhammad. Made me as a child think of God and so real, but in possession of such knowledge and power to transform reality. Case in point, not just with the hair, but I recall on my father's thumb. I don't remember if it was the left hand or the right hand, but on one of his thumbs at the top was a dark round patch that you could almost compare to a birthmark or mole. He told me that that thumb of his one day was opening and closing the door for his daughter. I believe the daughter was my sister, Ethel Sharif Muhammad, who passed. She was married to the Supreme Captain, Brother Raymond Sharif. Those cars back in the 50s had steel, big, heavy doors. When he closed the door, after her getting in the car, it clipped off the top of his thumb as it got smashed in the door. Naturally, they rushed my father to the hospital and took the little piece of the thumb that was clipped off by closing the door, and they were not able to sew it back to his thumb. Yet my father told me, listen, Master Fard Muhammad promised me that it would grow back, and of course it did. He showed me the thumb, and it was a perfect thumb from what I recall. It just had this dark patch at the top. He said to me, you see, it grew back, and soon this round dark patch will grow out too. Again, here is another account that in my young years produced an image or mindset about Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad as a real human being with knowledge and wisdom that's transformative. It was healing. I think this is the right concept of God and that we all should have. It must be a concept, meaning a general understanding that He's real and has power. Power only means capacity. He's a real God with the capacity to transform lives, to heal, to cure, to produce, and to create. My father said to me as a boy, nothing is impossible. Nothing. I said to him, prove it. He said, the mere idea is proof of the possibility. Man, check that out. He said, if you can think it, it can be. There is no such thing as impossibility. I've put all of that in the same category as the concept of God that He gave me as a child. what does that have to do with him being alive and surviving the death plot? If there's a death plot, that means that there are those with the thought in mind that are close up around him and that do not believe in him. I think it's in the book of John, in the scriptures of the Bible, where Jesus says, "He that believeth in me, believeth not in me, but in on him who sent me." Therefore, if we doubt it in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then of course we doubt it also in the God he claimed raised him and sent him. Yes, I was aware because he made me aware of certain hypocrites around him. And when, oh, sorry, excuse me, and we knew of certain hypocrites around him that were not only in laboring positions in the Nation of Islam, that also included government agents that were in the Nation of Islam and are still in the Nation of Islam. Yet, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said one day, betrayal, betrayal would have to come from somebody that's close to you, real close to you. You can't have effective betrayal from somebody who's obviously an enemy. So that's hypocrisy. That betrayal comes from both laboring, close staff members, executive officers, as well as family members. So, family, we have absolutely had a wonderful time. I pray that you all have enjoyed. This was the live celebration of 500 plus subscribers. I can't even, like, it is hard to believe that something